Hi, I'm Earl Huband, and this is the Dix Hill Blues, my third collection of poetry. Dix Hill is the term commonly used when I was growing up to refer to Dorothea Dix Hospital, the first state psychiatric hospital in North Carolina. Founded in 1856, it was closed in 2012. This book, The Dix Hill Blues, consists of 54 poems divided into 4 roughly equal sections. And what I'd like to do today is to give you a sample from each of the 4 sections, a short sample, and then maybe speak briefly about that section. The first section of the book is titled Dix Hill Echoes. And as the title suggests, the main focus of this section is on mental illness and its effects. Why would I want to write about that? Simply put, mental illness runs in my family, particularly on my mother's side, and especially schizophrenia. Here's the opening poem. Aunt Margaret sings the Dix Hill Blues. She always hugged us much too tightly, smothering in her heaving bosom. After she died, I heard the whispers, how she thought she was a movie star, how my father played to her each time she cracked, was bundled into the car, and dashed off to her press conference, there to feel the limelight once again, acting out at the state hospital. The second section of the book is titled Skeletal History. Most of these poems are set in and around a tobacco farm in rural Pitt County, not far from Greenville, North Carolina, where I was born. The focus is on my mother and her family and life on that farm. I'll share with you a short excerpt from one of the poems called Learning to Talk Farm Talk. A friend of my Uncle Wiley was explaining to me the now defunct North Carolina tobacco allotment system. It limited each farmer to a specific fixed number of acres. But this friend was going to rent half of my uncle's allotment in order to grow more tobacco. The talk turned from tobacco to corn, from corn to soybeans, from soybeans to peanuts. Uncle Wiley remarked that the previous year Uncle Sam had paid him so many dollars per acre for all the acres of peanuts he didn't grow, that this year he thought he might double his acreage. The third section of the book is called Helping the Dying. Most of the poems involve life in and around Wilmington, North Carolina, my father's hometown, his family's hometown, and my own. And I'd like to give you a short opening poem from that section. It's called Lost, L-O-S-T, Lost. Do not condemn this granite. Become one with the stone and weep as water trickles down the cracks in its face. Look for your reflection in the pool of moving water at the bottom of the stone. The final section of the book is titled Rites of Passage. Most of these poems are more directly personal, based on my experiences, and indeed I consider many of them rites of passage. I'd like to share with you the opening poem. It's titled The Vision of Frogs, and it comes with an epigraph attributed to Albert Einstein of what is significant in one's own existence one is hardly aware, and it certainly should not bother the other fellow. The vision of frogs. What, indeed, does a solitary frog know of the water he swims in most of his life? Unless, through chance, he is so observant that he can conceive of outlying waters. Foolish, unsuspecting frog, absorbed in water, the temperature rising, you squat in the ignorance of your knowledge, risking the burn of invisible light. Behold the narrow-banded vision of a frog. Thank you for listening to this video. If you like what I've said and are interested in perhaps purchasing a copy of my book, you can find it on the Main Street Rag website, specifically the Main Street Rag bookstore website. And on that site, there are 3 of my better poems displayed for you can read if you would like to know more in considering whether to buy my book.